is Pita Sadanandan, and today is the 1st of April 2026, and the time is 6:35 p.m. And the area of body we will be maintaining health of by the Nirbeeja Yoga style is the region of the intestines. Now, morning we did have a live. I just had X Spaces uh, live. I didn't take a Zoom recording on it. Evening I am. So I'll be putting this up on YouTube and on Mighty Radio, my podcast. Now I'm thinking I'm going to change the format a little bit because I'm thinking I'd slowly develop content on learn.dynamicstillnesses.com and then in a systematic manner to then be able to provide content um, so that and then maybe offer it as a subscription offer so you can tap in and then learn it in a systematic manner. That becomes possible too. But these lives are having a certain uh, acts of random kindness kind. And what's possible, who's there in the room, I don't know who's there in the room, who comes, who shows up, what is required there to be said. Um, yeah, that's a different kind of a service. So I will keep this live on X Spaces. I'm thinking, and then some of them available on YouTube. I don't know. I'm tending to think of Mighty Spaces in a different manner, Mighty Radio. I'm just rethinking how I'm placing all of my different um, activities, how things are visible. So there is better dip in to the content because there are different kinds of content here. And if I'm going to be putting the same thing across in different media, then there is the reach. There is a value that's possible according to how different people are able to appreciate the matter. But I think I can do better in how I'm making content available and how each of us can then make use of what's being made available one way or the other, how they're showing up for and why they're showing up and what you have to stand to gain from them and how you show up in life, why you show up in life. They're all part of a certain intelligent design. So I'm trying to do the best with available resources so we all do well. We're all on the same planet Earth. And I find human beings are designed to live in life in the multiverse. So as we come to our own niche in the whole scheme of things, then how life shows up would be very different from what we can imagine right now. So um, in light of several new details, these have been showing up since some time, but I just didn't have the context from which to speak. But it's just that you work from a faith. You you can see some things, you can't see some things, but as you keep walking, the path appears, and then further clarity emerges. So since when I started work, there have been so many believe it or not moments that I'm now just it's become a system of science in and of itself. I call it conglomerate science or the path of the unknown, where you respect the unknown and what you respect respects you and your life. And there are many lives here. So we've got lots of work there. Yeah. So, and then I discovered that Andromeda Galaxy may be functioning like Tefiti, kind of the heart a little bit uh, stolen or not as fine as it needs to be. So Tefiti becomes thicker and red star. Yeah. And yeah, so Andromeda Galaxy is said to be having a lot of red star. So I'm thinking that's like a heart, not doing so fine. And my work has been about improving the fabric of time space. Nothing is at the heart of everything. As you improve nothing, everything becomes better. So as more humans learn to improve nothing, heal the fabric of time space, Andromeda Galaxy also finds her heart as healthy as it needs to be, and then is not losing her place in the whole scheme of things such that she has to merge with Milky Way galaxy because of what it takes to maintain the gravitas of matter. So I have this idea of Santa Claus and the reindeer. So there is so many facets unknown. For example, the sun moves, and then all the planets are following along the trail of the sun's path, and the sun is also moving along the path by an unknown leader. So there is the Milky Way galaxy, to think of it that way. But then we are part of the Orion arm of Milky Way galaxy. And then Milky Way galaxy must be related with another bigger structure similarly in a fractal. So, and then I have this idea that Milky Way galaxy is space with this, it's like kind of like a frontier. Um, but there are several other galaxies, and Andromeda galaxy is one of the nearby galaxies. So it's kind of like, Santa Claus and the reindeer. So uh, space, the final frontier, in search of new civilizations. So the Star Trek dialogue by Captain Kirk. So there are several such details, but there are things we don't know. So faith is also something that you work with. And people have been looking for life out there in space. So into the unknown, says movie Frozen. So we are searching for something that we don't really know. But how do we know that what we don't know is beyond what we can see? But nevertheless, they say karmanya vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. So do what you need to be doing in such a way that what you know and don't know are also becoming better. And you never know how many layers of problems or solutions you're making available. And what all problems we are not having to face because we continue to keep doing the right thing, even though we can see or can't see what's there out there. And still you do the right things. All right, taking care of the intestines. We have a body that's human, and it's kind of like a thermometer, barometer. Um, um, I can't really say seismograph where tremors are felt, but no, that's not what I mean. What I mean is there is Nikola Tesla, Mr. Nikola Tesla talks in terms of pay attention to frequency, energy, vibration. In the sense, sounds also have a certain vibration. When we speak, when we think, our brain waves have a certain effect. And our body functions by different kinds of circadian rhythms. And our intestines also function by a certain rhythm, just like our heart beats, our lung expands and contracts at its own pace. Different tissues of our body function by their own pace. It's also called the body clock, at their own rhythm, depending on the tissue texture. Bones have a certain texture different from the muscles, different from blood, different from skin, different from lymph, different thickness, different texture. And so similarly, cells, tissues, organs, organ systems. Intestines have a different composition than heart, than pancreas, and liver, and each have their own rhythm, have their own skin too. So when we are maintaining health of these different parts of the body, what they do in the whole scheme of things, in our body, and also our body taking care of the life we have, each of us in our own geodesimal locations, geographical locations, then help the whole system that's also life on Earth, where life is on Earth is also part of the solar system, is also part of the Milky Way galaxy, is also part of the same universe or multiverse that Andromeda galaxy is part of. So at some point, we looked at these twinkling stars and discovered they are planets. How do we know what exactly is Andromeda galaxy? Are we looking at a different universe? And our definitions could change. So we don't know. Nevertheless, we have known and unknown entities and definitions. While we all have life and different affects, influences from different media, including the different planets, on our same human alive body. So taking care of the intestines is taking care of one more department whose function, when well enough, takes care of several other departments, several other functions, which we know or don't know about. And we are still discovering what it means to be human and what is possible from being alive, because there's always something new to discover, something new to hear. So taking care of this intestines. Now, I invite you to take a seat on a chair. I tend to call it the Abraham Lincoln chair because there's this image of Abraham Lincoln sitting on a chair. There's a statue, and there's a certain kind of a chair he's sitting on, which is kind of like a teacher's chair. with armrest, a straight back, and you can place your knees in such a way that your feet can touch the ground. So the chair's height is just sufficient for your feet to touch the ground, and so you can place your feet flat on the ground with your knees at a 90-degree angle, which means 90-degree angle to your hip, where your feet are uh, just wide enough to be to your shoulder length, to your shoulder width. So that gives a certain ease of posture, which then makes several physiological and anatomical health improvement possible. Because at least when you're sitting, you are maintaining a certain anatomical ease from your posture on the Abraham Lincoln chair or teacher's chair. Now, from this posture where you can also rest on your back, I invite you to bring your attention to the sides of your body. Now, if you have arms, then pay attention to the sides of your body where you can feel your arms. If you don't have arms, then pay attention to the sides of your body, which may be your chest. We all have our own unique human composition, and a basic alive human being, a human unit, alive human body, has head, neck, the shoulder girdle, the rib cage, the spine, which also forms the abdomen. Abdomen is basically bony structures, just the spine, and then the pelvic girdle, and with the whole muscle system, and plus or minus limbs. So basic unit is the mainframe, plus or minus limbs. So alive human body, and then according to where is our placement in the whole scheme of things, where we are born, what we do, what we are, what job we are expected to do, from having a body that's human, the shape and structure it is, and with the different resources, the different thought processes, the different wealth that's available, wealth or no wealth. No, what is available is the wealth from where we have a job, a reason for coming into existence. And then as we are working with available resources, how we then improve not just our life, people around us, future generations, their future generations. That's how we do our job in the whole scheme of things, from having come into existence, from having a body that's human. And then we have to take care of our own body unit, intestines. From the Abraham Lincoln chair or the teacher's chair, I invite you to notice what does it feel like when you allow the chair to hold your weight. Notice the chair holding your weight. Can you allow the chair to completely hold your weight? In which sense, you would have to relax your muscles, relax your bones even, so that the chair can completely hold your weight. Notice what does that feel like? When you completely give the weight of your muscles and your bones, so the chair can hold the weight of your body and your life for this while. When you wake up, when you get up from here, you move around, you have to carry your own weight. But for this moment, the chair can hold your weight. Can you allow the chair to hold the weight of your life? Yeah, it's a kind of a support. And earth is holding the weight of the chair too. And earth has been holding a lot of people's weight since some time. And as we learn to also trust what's there, what is available, earth is like mother. We are all like babies in mother's womb. Yeah. So she has been carrying a lot of weight since quite some time. And when we become able enough to carry our own weight in a way that is not a burden, then you see life showing up in a way that is not otherwise possible. For that, you would need to at least try allowing the chair, which is supported by earth, to hold your weight. Tonight, when you're going to sleep, try and allow the bed, the cot, the bed, to hold the weight of your body and your life. As you sleep, Pay attention to warmth and softness of your body. And notice how you alone may not be carrying the whole weight of stuff. The bed may be carrying your weight, but you need to allow the bed to carry your weight when you sleep, such that you kind of in your body feel that you're not the only one carrying the whole weight of life. That's also important. This is some of the things I do suggest when people come for on-table therapy work, clinical. I facilitate health clinically on-table therapy work. So this is some of the things I do suggest people do. After sometimes several sessions, one or several sessions is when they are able to actually be able to release their weight enough to be able to then trust the table can carry their weight. But it's not something you make do. We are several layers of people. Our body is made up of several layers of tissues. But how big people we are also depends on how many lifetimes we have lived before having the body that we have, the life opportunities we have, your placement in the whole scheme of things than anywhere else. Sometimes the tough things that you're dealing with is also because you have lived several lifetimes and then can now work with those challenges that you do now. So sometimes when people come for sessions, it takes several sessions before they can actually allow for the table or for the chair or for earth to also carry the weight while they relax, maintain their health, and then can carry the weight of the life and, do things in a way that they're not crushed by the weight of it. Yeah. But they can maintain health, light enough. So that takes some work. And Nirbeeja Yoga is about maintaining, this session is about maintaining your intestines. Intestines are like the galaxy of your universe, so to speak. Intestines are having tubes, small intestines, large intestines, but they are kind of like a cauliflower, so to speak. Florets, many, many layers of them. If you can imagine tubes like a cauliflower, where they're held from behind by the mesentery. So they are like you've seen cauliflower, it has branches, and on top are the florets. So the small intestines, large intestines are like the florets, held by the mesentery from behind, kind of tissues, like the branches of a cauliflower head, yeah? And they move in a particular manner. This is also there embryologically, how the intestines form is also part of how your human body maintains health now that you're born out of your mother's womb, yeah? And now have the intestine still functioning, remembering, maintaining the structure, and also where intestines form from, how they form. So several people are still studying where our different parts of our body came from. For example, they discovered hands formed from the same genes that gives rise to the tail fins of fish. Yeah, which is like which is also related with the the pelvic floor, which also has 3 holes between our legs. So the genes that give rise to the 3 holes between our legs also is related with what gives rise to our hands. So they're still studying on where the different parts of our body came from. So nature's natural recombinant gene technology, fish tail, fish fin tail, and hands are related. So wonder where the intestines came from. It would be interesting what the studies would show. But when you take care of your intestines, it's kind of like you taking care of the galaxy, your personal galaxy. If you consider your body to be a universe, a multiversal universe, your liver is having their own talk, pancreas having their own talk, intestines having their own talk, because frequency, energy, vibration. They all function by their own frequency, energy, vibration. They have their own characters. And so they're all different, they're multiverse. They have their own verses, talks. And then all part of the same body, so universe. So our body is a multiversal universe. We are functioning as one structure Yeah. And keeping it together, hands are not going on a walk of their own. Yeah, that would be really odd. No, we are all keeping it together. When the hand goes, the rest of the body also goes. Yeah, that would be really odd. But the thing is, um, if there is those kinds of tendency where you're all busy talking and you're kind of like house slumped, you don't want to move a muscle. That's because your intestines suddenly remembered where your intestines came from. Yeah. So a little flashback, like the hands of a flashback came from fish's tail. Yeah. And they're kind of thinking about how life has been. So you could have a little flashback memory and you don't know, you just want to just relax a little bit. Yeah. You could get so lost in these thought lines. But like our team members, like family members, have their own moods and their own ways of being. We are all part of the same. It's like the solar system. Can you see the solar system? It's different kinds of balls in the same family. Yeah, it may seem like odd balls in the same family. Each have their own characteristics, moods, and ways of thinking and being, and their own definition of what life is. Yeah, and so our body parts would have their own moods and moments. And when we allow time for each family member to have their own moments, then we are functioning together as an organization, yeah, as a part of the same scheme of things on the same planet, and each have their own moments. So you say neurotypical, neurodivergent. There are many variations. Clearly, when we allow people, and we don't expect everybody to be a jackfruit tree or a mango tree, but each trees, say the forest of life or a garden, yeah, have their own characteristics. Then we have a pleasant life, yeah, pleasant experience of living, not expecting everybody to be like everybody else. That would be like factory made assembly lines. Hey, that would be kind of boring, don't you think? It's nice that we have a variety. And sometimes you think the variety is a problem. That's because we don't see the whole scheme of things, appreciate them. In there is variety. We would be really bored if we had the same things. Like we have gone to school and have uniforms, and after some time you look at people wearing other kinds of uniforms from other schools, and then look at them, see how nice it is. The other side of the lawn seems to be green, yeah, than what we already have. We already have a variety, yeah, thank God. And then it's about managing all the different varieties, which also requires you to mind your own business, yeah, and then slowly look at the opportunities we have because of the variety we have. Yeah, we are more richer than we know. If only we take time to appreciate and then see we have more than we actually thought we have. If only we look at life from these terms. Garden. Garden has many kinds of flowers and fruits and trees, and you should visit a garden. Maybe you haven't visited a garden in some time. And then, for example, there's a Lalbagh garden where I live. So every now and then, just going there allows you to see things, many layouts, and many ways of um, growing different kinds of crops. Take a walk. Different houses, different families live their lives in their own ways. That's quite a variety. If everybody lived like everybody else, that would be quite boring. Um, when you have so many variety to appreciate, then you having your own unique life while also working amongst different other family trees, different other ways of living, allows you to um, appreciate life, see another person's perspective, and see what's available in their ways of thinking, what's available in your ways of thinking. It allows for um, us to, it's not about comparison competition, but it's about appreciation. It's like going to a buffet and you have many kinds of dishes. If you expect everything to be the same thing, it'll be so boring. We have a variety to choose from. Yeah, lots of colors and lots of food and different kinds of people. And it is so nice. Yeah, when you look at it that way. Now, the intestines allows for appreciation of different kinds of matter. The food we eat goes into the intestines and is absorbed differently. So there is different parts of the intestines to absorb different kinds of food. Fat, for example, different kinds of proteins, different kinds of fat, different kinds of other micronutrients, different parts of the intestines for different activities. And then there is also elimination. So it's a assembly line of several kinds of activities. So there's tube work. So from the stomach, there's food goes through from the mouth is esophagus. The food tube starts, goes to the stomach, different activities, and then through the small intestines. It's the same assembly line, but different activities, different things are being taken from the food that goes in, and then it's what is not able to be taken in is also let out, like manure. So earth can then, the soil can then, what do you say, what do you call that? Decompose, and then allow for example, other crops to form. That is when your digestive system is good enough and you're not putting out poison. If you're eating good enough. But then there is also this, how do you metabolize? What do you eat? What do you then let out? Also forms the how you are supporting the microcosm, and how the microcosm, the macrocosm supports you. Now, how is this related with the intestines? Well, what happens in your intestines? How do you take care of the intestines? I invite you to bring your attention to the sides of your abdomen. When you're sitting on the chair and allowing for the chair to hold your weight, you are able to pay attention to the sides of your abdomen easier in terms of warmth, in terms of softness. When you pay attention to softness about the sides of your abdomen, then you're likely to notice how the weight of your pelvis and the weight of your muscles of your abdomen are related, because you're more likely to feel the weight of your body borne by your pelvic bones. The pelvic bones on the chair feel the weight of the upper part of your body, and you can notice the pelvic bones feeling the weight of the upper part of your body when you pay attention to your abdomen in terms of softness, in terms of warmth and softness. The warmth comes from a certain thermodynamics that comes about from your muscles doing the work of holding the weight of your body. So there's a certain structural substance, not like liquid, not just like lymph or fluid. Your body has structure, substance that can then bear the weight of tissues adjacent and above it. So when you notice your abdomen in terms of softness, you can also pay attention to warmth, which comes about from the thermodynamics required to maintain weight, to carry the weight, to maintain structure. While there is also blood and fluids and bones and many other tissues. So there's a certain friction there. It's also called piezoelectric effect. There's a certain mechanical stress and strain, but there's also a certain cooperative stress and strain. It's also called eustress and distress. So when there's a balance such that the tissues are not getting too strained, that they are getting a little too stretched, then there is no pain, there is no strain. But still, there is this cooperative living of muscles and bones and different kinds of fluid textures, which may not be painful, and hence you may not be paying attention to your body. When you pay attention to your body in terms of warmth and softness, then you can notice what your body is already doing in maintaining health. Now, why is that important? If you're only going to pay attention to your body or your department or your different areas of life when there's a problem, that may be more expensive than if you regularly maintained health. So health is wealth. When you're protecting, you're taking care of what needs to be taken care of, then you are also saving a lot of money, which can be used for, say, investing and growing other things than firefighting. Yeah. So pay attention. So Nirbeeja Yoga is allowing for you to pay attention to your body in noticing how is your health already. So when you notice the sides of your abdomen in terms of warmth and softness, And you can notice the texture of your muscles, the texture of your bones. And in the region of the abdomen, your spine is the only bone that's there. And you have the lower portion of your abdomen with the pelvic girdle. The upper portion is having the rib cage, the lower portion of the rib cage. So that's the bone that's there. And abdomen is otherwise a lot of soft tissue, except for the spine and the pelvic girdle and rib cage there. So when you're paying attention to your abdomen in terms of softness, that's a lot of different kinds of textures. Skin different from muscle, different from the intestines inside, which may be tubes, which may be different kinds of structures. But it would take some while for you to notice different kinds of soft tissue textures. If you can notice bones when you're paying attention to softness of your abdomen, then you're becoming a little more aware of the texture that's there, that forms your human body, the abdominal region. But that's a certain warming up to some of the basics in appreciating health of your body. So if you can notice texture, you're doing good. You can feel your bones when you're paying attention to softness and warmth, you're doing good. If your abdomen relaxes when you're paying attention to warmth and softness, you're doing further good because the quality, how you're paying attention to your body, is allowing for your body to feel relaxed enough. Okay? If you're only noticing your abdomen in terms of softness, in terms of warmth, in terms and paying attention to the texture, or let's just say just the warmth, yeah? Because we could sometimes go into preconceived notions on what the texture is or how they should be. So a little bit of intellectualization, yeah? So just notice the softness and the warmth, and notice what can you feel about your abdomen. Some of them could be the bony structure, the bony texture. Some of them could be a sense of relaxation if it's there. It doesn't have to be there. You're only noticing what is there, what is the experience. Some of them could be certain movements that you can notice about your abdomen. If you can notice movement about your abdomen, that's there to be noticed too. And the lower portion of your abdomen could be moving differently than the middle portion of your abdomen could be moving differently than the upper portion of your abdomen. Because these are different geographical locations of the country that's your body, yeah, or the geography that's your body, yeah, geometry, okay, geography, where your body is a topography of the life as lived, mind-body relationships, and okay, a lot of mapping there. But let's just stay with the geography of the abdomen and notice what is there to notice about your abdomen. Do you notice ease? Or do you notice fluid ease versus texture ease? Like ease, EASE. Does your abdomen feel soft like fluid, or does it feel soft like cotton, like a bed, cotton bed? Or does it feel like I can't say water bed, butter bed? Yeah, so different texture, yes. If you have noticed different kinds of fabric, there's silk, there's cotton, there is wool, there is rug material, tough, jeans material, different kinds of textures. What does your abdomen feel like? What kind of texture, if you consider your abdomen to be like a fabric, what kind of texture does your abdominal tissues feel like? It's also something to notice because awareness is also key, because your abdominal tissues could have different kinds of textures. Your intestines, for example, could feel a little sometimes like jeans, denim. If there is a lot of material inside, a lot of absorption happening, but you're not drinking sufficient water, your intestines are pulling all the water inside from the content in your intestines, and you may be having constipation and you don't know it until you feel your abdomen, and it seems like jeans texture. Yeah. Some of the tissues can feel a little different. That may be an indication that you could try a little extra fiber in your diet. or that helps to clean your bowel a little more, um, helps improve the mobility of your intestines. Peristalsis, it's called. Um, or you could also try using a little more iron content. Green leafy vegetables, they also have fiber, but they also have certain minerals, micronutrients, macronutrients, which help your intestines move a little better naturally. Yeah, without using, say, a laxative or any of those content, any such um, methods by which to move your intestinal content. Drink more water. That has values which cannot be simply said. Um, a lot of people face constipation because of not knowing how hot their body is until they pay attention to their body in terms of Nirbeeja Yoga, warmth and softness. So they may not be aware of how hot their body is. So a desert does not tend to take in so much of water, also because, well, if there was sufficient water, then the desert wouldn't be desert. Yeah, it would be another kind of a climate. So if you tend to drink less water, your internal structure may need maybe a little desert or a frozen, yeah, like wintry kind of a place, either cold or hot. But nevertheless, you're not taking much water. That's the geography of your body. Yeah. So there is different kinds of climates. There's a desert, there's a snowy areas, or there is temperate, or there's tropical. Yeah. There's also rainy, springtime, many such, but basically just let's just say desert, little snowy, wintry areas. Um, yeah, temperate and tropical, kind of, for a overview kind. And then there's autumn. These are seasons, but we're talking about climates that, prominent climates on Earth. You're just going to look at it that way. Tropical countries are more like where you have lots of different kinds of trees and fruits and different kinds of animals. And um, it's a little springtime. There are all kinds. Temperate has a different variation, not as much as the tropical, a different variation. So, how's your life? Is it like this desert, or is it like snowy areas, like the Himalayas, where there's a lot of white, green, could do better. Yeah. And then so what kind of life do you have? Would also be given by what kind of food you eat, what kind of, how much water do you drink, or what do you drink, um, and how's your creatives? Do you create anything, or is it just go to work, come back, sleep, eat, repeat? If that's what's happening, then that would talk a little bit about how's your country, what is the climate of your different parts of your body. Yeah. Do you write? Do you paint? Do any artwork? Create something? Cook? If you don't cook also, then so much of creativity is not able to happen. So try something, or you could just try getting a pot of, a pot with some mud, and then try planting some seeds, and keep them in your workplace around where you are, and take care of it. Watch it grow. Chances are, oftentimes, at least I found that my life began to start looking more colorful, more growth based when I started looking at what all it takes for that plant to grow. It takes some work. But as that was growing, my life was also showing up in a way that I cannot explain, except by you actually experiencing it. Because that's the easiest way for me to tell what happened between that plant actually growing and then having life, and then how my life showed up also over time. Yeah. So try that out. At least that's some creativity. You could also try cooking something for yourself, which you can eat, at least. If you can share it with somebody else, that's a different layer of, it's another layer. But try creating something, writing something, painting something, singing any instrument, depending on, so we have a lot of options here. So there's gardening, there's cooking, that you can write, you can paint something, You can say use some weaving crochet or um, knitting or embroidery, or you could make craft work. Um, there's doll making, or you can weave something, or you can make sculpture. There's also thermocol that you can use and make sculpture if that's something that kind of interests you. Or you can keep a book beside you and then doodle something as you're writing while you're thinking. Instead of just thinking alone, you can keep making lines, dots, doodle something. So that is something to create. It's also an expression, but also it's a form of creation. You're creating something. You're making something. Yeah. So, that's also how you can improve the climate of your life and of your body and what you do in life. You never know how your room, your life, your relationships, how they show up, what your garden's going to look like. Yeah. Um, what you choose to wear, what you choose to eat, whom you choose to sit amongst. So it will be interesting. Yeah. Just try this out. That's also part of taking care of the intestines. That's your own galaxy, your own galaxy. As your gut is improving, try having a little bit of curd. If you can have curd, um, at least continue to pay attention to warmth and softness of your abdomen and notice the different textures about your abdomen. And slowly, as you notice different aspects about your own abdomen, different textures, different um, movements, for example, or how your abdomen feels at different times of the day. Mm, um, how your life shows up, that's also your galaxy, but how your life shows up also would be pretty interesting. So, um, yeah, there is this video, course kind, that I put up on my website, learn.dynamicstillnesses.com, learn.dynamicstillnesses.com. So on there is a free course. It's called Belly Button Breath. That's also related with the intestines, but that would also help you in some way to notice certain details about your abdomen. So try that out. Um, there's also this course that I've called as it's a fast track bundle, but I've called it's a humane human. It's a fast track bundle. It has 4 courses in total. I'm slowly thinking of adding some more content there, but that would help you also pay attention to your body. But that's also related with Nirbeeja Yoga. But there are also there are 3 other forms. So I've not mentioned them as separately. It's just humane human and it's a fast track bundle. So that would help. So see if that is something that you're ready to consider. Otherwise, continue to participate in these lives if that's something that interests you. And notice what is that you do during your day. Do you create something? What do you create? So that would also be how your life is slowly taking shape, how it's enlivening, how it is showing up in life, in health, wealth, and wisdom. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope this has been of value to you. Good day.